Hello, my name is Monique Musiel, and I'm the author of An Understanding Beyond. Today I want to talk about the power of words. I've selected certain phrases out of the Bible that talk about words and how we should use them properly and not abuse them. Proverbs 18:4, a person's words can be life-giving water. Words of true wisdom are as refreshing as a babbling brook. Proverbs 16:24, kind words are like honey, sweet to the soul and healthy for the body. Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue, and those who love it will eat its fruit. Proverbs 15:4, gentle words bring life and health, a deceitful tongue crushes the spirit. Colossians 4:6, let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person. Luke 6:43 through 45, for there is no good tree which produces bad fruit, nor on the other hand a bad tree which produces good fruit, for each tree is known by its own fruit. This is like saying, it shows the state of your heart. So, what you are inside. For men do not gather figs from thorns, nor do they pick grapes from a briar bush. The good man out of the good treasure of his heart brings forth what is good, and the evil man out of the evil treasure brings forth what is evil. For the mouth speaks from that which fills his heart. And then there's some additional similar Matthew 15:35 to 37, the good person out of his good treasure brings forth good, and the evil person out of his evil treasure brings forth evil. I tell you, on the day of judgment, people will give account for every careless word they speak. For by your words you will be judged. Proverbs 11:9, evil words destroy one's friends. Wise discernment rescues the godly. We can build people up or cut them down with what we say, and it's actually very powerful. It can really cause a lot of damage if we're not careful. So 2 Corinthians 5:10, for we must appear before the judgment seat of Christ, so that each of us may receive what is due for the things done while in the body, whether good or bad. Proverbs 25:18, telling lies about others is as harmful as hitting them with an axe, wounding them with a sword, or shooting them with a sharp arrow. Like I said, it can do a lot of damage. Proverbs 12:18, there is one who speaks rashly like the thrusts of a sword, but the tongue of the wise brings healing. Titus 3:2, so speak evil of no one, to avoid quarreling, to be gentle, and to show perfect courtesy to all people. James 3:5, in the same way, the tongue is a small thing that makes grand speeches, but a tiny spark can set a great forest on fire. Psalm 34:13, keep your tongue from evil and your lips from speaking deceit. Ephesians 4:19, let no corrupting talk come out of your mouths, but only such as is good for building up, as fits the occasion, that it may give grace to those who hear. Proverbs 21:23, whosoever keeps his mouth and his tongue keeps himself out of trouble. I've heard of people getting beat up for things that they say. Proverbs 17:18, even a fool who keeps silent is considered wise. When he closes his lips, he is deemed intelligent. How about that? So it's better to say nothing than to say something stupid, right? Okay. Now I want to get to the power of God's words. This is a very amazing account in the Bible. It's Ezekiel 37:1 to 14. and it's the Valley of the Dry Bones is what it's called. It's Prophet Ezekiel stating what he experienced. Ezekiel 1 through I'll just say it at the end. So 1 through 14. Okay. The hand of the Lord was on me, and he brought me out by the Spirit of the Lord and set me in the middle of a valley. It was full of bones. He led me back and forth among them, and I saw a great many bones on the floor of the valley, bones that were very dry. He asked me, "Son of man, can these bones live?" And I said, "Sovereign Lord, you alone know." Then he said to me, "Prophesy to these bones, and say to them, Dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. This is what the Sovereign Lord says to these bones. I will make breath enter you, and you will come to life. You will attach tendons to you, and make flesh come upon you, and cover you with skin. I will put breath in you, and you will come to life. Then you will know that I am Lord." So I prophesied as I was commanded, and as I was prophesying, there was a noise of rattling sound, and the bones came together, bone to bone. I looked, and tendons and flesh appeared on them, and the skin covered them, but there was no breath in them. Then he said to me, "Prophesy to the breath. Prophesy, Son of man, and say to it, This is what the Sovereign Lord says. Come, breath from the four winds, and breathe into these slain, that they may live." So I prophesied as he commanded me, and breath entered them. They came to life and stood up on their feet, a vast army. Then he said to me, "Son of man, these bones are the people of Israel. They say, our bones are dried up and our hope is gone. We were cut off. Therefore prophesy and say to them, This is what the Sovereign Lord says, My people, I am going to open your graves and bring you up from them. I'll bring you back to the land of Israel. Then my people will know that I am Lord, when I open your graves and bring you up from them. I will put my spirit in you, and you will live, and I will settle you in your own land. Then you will know that I am Lord, the Lord that has spoken, and I have done it, declares the Lord. Now, when we're talking about the power of words, specifically the power of God's words especially, he has the power to do things like create things, natural things. But what I want to talk about is creation and the significance of the Higgs boson. I will explain it in simple terms. In pondering creation, scientists now realize that Genesis in the Bible coincides with many of their findings. They figured out that it all started with a bright atom that had such dense mass that when it exploded, created the entire universe. It had so much force that it is still ever expanding now. This is referred to as the Big Bang Theory by scientists. As recorded in Genesis, God spoke everything into existence. Notice that the creation of light, the bright atom which was just described by scientists, is first. So both accounts are right. Here are the words in selected sentences of Genesis in the Bible. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. And God said, let there be a... three. That was 3. Now 6 says, and God said, let them be a firmament in the midst of the waters, and let it divide the waters from the waters. 9, and God said, let the waters under the heaven be gathered together into one place, and let the dry land appear, and it was so. 11. And God said, let the earth bring forth grass, the herb yielding seed, and the fruit tree yielding fruit after its kind, whose seed is in itself upon the earth. And it was so. 14 and 15. And God said, let there be lights in the firmament of the heavens to divide the day from the night, and let there be signs for signs, let them be for signs, and for seasons, and for days, and for years, and let them be for the lights in the firmament of heaven to give light upon the earth. And it was so. And God said, let the waters bring forth abundantly the moving creature that hath life, and fowl that may fly above the earth in the open firmament of heaven. And God said, let the earth bring forth the living creature after his kind, cattle and creeping thing, and beasts of the earth of his kind. And it was so. And God said, let us make man in our image. Now when he says let us make man, I don't think he was talking about just one man. He's talking about that species, man. Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the earth, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. You know, when he says them, man, them, I always wondered when Adam and Eve were kicked out of paradise, where did these other people come from? People have the notion that it was just Adam and Eve that God started with, but here it's actually saying, man, let's make man in our image. So that is, mankind. So how was all this possible? To illustrate God's power to control all but our free wills, it's important for us to understand the significance of the discovery of the Higgs boson. It's also referred to as the God particle, which is present in all matter, while the universe is a boson field which affects this boson particle to determine the density and characteristics of all matter. Why does this matter? Fundamental particles in our universe acquire mass through their interactions with the Higgs field, so it would have been necessary for the creation of all matter in existence. This also supports the notion, for me, that God is present in everything and everywhere. He's part of the entire universe. The Higgs boson, and controlling everything about it. The Higgs boson was proposed in 1964 by Peter Higgs, Francis Englert, and 4 other theorists to explain why certain particles have mass. Now, just an aside for a second. If it didn't demonstrate, if nothing else, it demonstrates that something or someone is in control of everything in the universe. So, even scientists are starting to wonder about their theories. The Higgs boson was proposed in 1964 by Peter Higgs, Francis Englert, and 4 other theorists to explain why certain particles have mass. At that time, it was only a theory that the Higgs boson was what determined the mass of particles. 48 years later, scientists confirmed its existence in 2012 at the Hadron Collider in Switzerland. Over many decades before the Hadron Collider was ever even built, Fermilab's collider here in Batavia contributed much experience to this monumental project, and their scientists were directly involved for guidance with the experiments that followed at the Hadron Collider, in the one in Switzerland, which is a much larger facility. What does this mean to us? It's actually 18 miles around, and it fires protons almost at the speed of light. So What does this mean to us? It means that without the Higgs boson, nothing would exist. The universe would still be chaos. No wonder even scientists reluctantly call the Higgs boson the God particle. In Colossians 1:17 is a phrase that came to mind when I was faced with all these scientific facts, realizations. Colossians 1:17, He is before all things, and in Him all things hold together. When you think about it, the entire molecular structure of everything in every mass is controlled by this force. At a presentation I attended at Fermilab Nuclear Research Facility, their scientist speaker stated that the boson particle determines what all matter is going to be. This was also reinforced for me by other scientific professors at a seminar for the Reasons to Believe organization. Considering that in the past scientists always tended to believe that creation could be explained away through science, they are now finding that there are many correlations between what used to be considered contrary to each other. Many archaeologists' findings have supported what is written in the Bible, such as Noah's Ark, for example. In the Quran, which is writings from a different religion, it is said that Noah, who is a prophet that sent to earth, asked people to believe in God and do good deeds. He asked people to come to God's way, and of his 950 years of life, this went on for 400 years, at which he prayed to God that he should wipe them off the world if they still disbelieved. Interesting to note that it was Noah that asked for this cleansing from the evils of humanity. It wasn't God's idea. Following this prayer, God asked Noah to make an ark with the help of angels. This is how this was possible, with the help of angels, supernatural help. And take a pair of every animal's and also every believer's with him into the ark before the flood comes. And in the Quran it also said that the ark will be found in the earth fossilized. And so it was. In Genesis 8:4, it is clearly written, "And on the 17th day of the 7th month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat." So the Torah also, which is also another reinforcing source, tells us that the ark landed on the hills of Mount Ararat, a dormant volcano near the east border of Turkey. Now, instead of trying to explain all the Bible details that match its actual discovery, view the following scientifically proven documentary on YouTube. It is called, it's fascinating, The Real Noah's Ark Found by Archaeologist Ron Wyatt. That again is The Real Noah's Ark Found by Archaeologist Ron Wyatt. Thank you for listening today. I hope that this information gets around because people should know about all this. It's very important. So my name again is Monique Musiel. I'm the author of An Understanding Beyond, which can be found on Amazon. So God bless. Thanks.